3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin The Racin.
Hey, on that note, welcome back to the podcast brought to you by OMG Racing, Bennetts and JCT Truck and Trailer Hire. And
sponsor for this pod, which is the Street Diner.
This man opposite, and I was about to jump the gun on introductions, but I think the voice has already given it away.
I think it's given it away.
It has slightly. And the other voice we've got to my right here is our other co-host, the sexy, the mysterious Christian Iddon. How you doing, son?
I mean, I love my intro.
It's what I do. You know, that 20 quid you owe me?
Yeah.
Pay up.
100%. You need more than 20 quid for that one.
And obviously, our guest needs no introduction, Lee Johnston, and this is the stupidest question in the world. How are you doing?
Nah, it's not. That's probably the most common question, but not the stupidest one. Good. I'm actually good, to be honest. I'm a lot better than I probably was expecting to be at this sort of time, because it's got to like the frustrating stage now of I'm not that sore, so my brain's tricking me into thinking I want to do things, and then you think about it and then you can't do it, so then you get pissed off and then you forget about it, and then you just go around in this circle of. Whereas like when you're. Can you swear on this?
Yeah, you can swear all you fucking want, son.
When you're like properly fucked, your brain never puts the idea of doing something in your head because it just wants to cabbage on the sofa. So yeah, that's worse for pain, but like this point's more frustrating for your head because you're like raging because you want to, especially like the last 2 days the weather's been turned into summertime in like 2 days, and I'm not so bad now because it's back raining again.
But you've just been on the phone organising some bike bits and trailer parts and all sorts, so you're not doing anything.
No, like that's what I said. Like the guys don't stop because I'm not ready. You know, they still have to get everything ready for when I'm ready. So
yes,
we're not gonna I'm not gonna walk out of the hospital one day with my cage off and them go, all right, we need to build the bikes now. So. Like, yeah, they were talking about the trailer needs to go for a 6-week trailer test. We've just had some work done on the trailer. They're going to wash it then because it's going to get some new graphics put on. Plus, they're building bikes. They're ordering clutches and just all the bits that you need for building new bikes as well. So that's a bit strange because that's not normally a rider conversation. That's a team manager conversation. But we're like...
But that's kind of your role anyway. But I guess we'll get to that. The last time you were on was the start of 22, I think, with Paul Jordan.
Well, I tell you what, you actually did a lot of homework on this. And looking back...
Yeah, I watched his videos and I watched the ads. So he
texted me to say you owe me because I watched the advert. I don't know how much you think I get paid per advert on YouTube, but it's that.
I'm sorry, he knows fine well. I bet you've looked it up. You owe me this, I'm telling you now.
3.5p I've watched for.
Well, we have plugged into his electric and I've charged my phone, so I think we're about even.
Yeah. He's juiced it right up.
He's brought every utensil out of his house here to charge, stuff that he doesn't even use.
Nick, the
Garmin, everything.
He's got the Ben's clothes drying on the back there. It's got to be done. Absolutely got to be done. But I tell you what, it's mad. Like tripping down memory lane. You were actually the first one in this studio.
Yeah.
At episode 56, which is just absolutely nuts. You know, like Chrissy got the studio built, and Lundy did all the hard work. Chrissy had the idea, and it's just, mate.
How long ago was that then?
Well, I was just about.
I read on the thing it was 2019, but I don't know which part of 2019.
I tell you what was mental. So obviously when in the yours, you kind of let me use a toilet, and it was terrifying because to turn around, and obviously you've got your son's height, little Jesse's height on there, and I'm thinking,
that's where he was last year.
Have you lived here since 2019 then?
Yeah, so we're in this house now nearly, at the end of this year it'll be 5 years. So yeah, since he will have been 1, so he's turning 6 now on April Fools. So
that is... Hold on. Jesse was born on April Fools.
He was born at 13 minutes past 12 on April Fools. He was born. Because I text my mates and they all just went, because I'm always like weighing them up, obviously they just went, fuck off. I had to send them a photograph to prove the point. I was like, he's real, I'm telling you, he's here and he's real and this has happened.
On April Fools, 13 as well, which is your race number.
My number, 13 minutes past 12 on April Fools. Bless him.
That is mental. And then actually Christian did the hard work. We messaged Grace, and obviously Grace is at school, which is mad to believe she runs a podcast.
I wouldn't call watching his YouTube videos hard work.
What a compliment! Is that a compliment?
Did you fall asleep?
No, but which episode was the last one? You and Paul Jordan were on yet again on this. That was
here,
which is mental. But which episode was that?
That was 150, I think it was.
That's mental.
You're like the Michael Laverty of this podcast, aren't you? Like
he is now.
I know a little bit more.
Is that the right word?
Statistician. Yeah. I don't know. Too many S's in that, I think.
Yeah.
Too many S's.
Statistician. No.
Yeah,
How
so
do you say that?
Statistician.
Oh, by the way, in the background,
Would you like to explain this, by the way? You know, for a lad who was just talking about, I just have to book bike parts and do a little bit of trailer stuff. We've got a television crew in here on Chasin The Racin. Can you explain this side of things?
So it's like, I don't know how to... We've discussed this. So it's a documentary that they're doing.
Right.
And can I explain it like that way?
You can say what you want on Chasin The Racin. These are facts.
What are we allowed to say?
we're just waiting for lawyers to get back to us.
She's playing bloody... What's that game called? That she's playing?
Playing Bubble Burst, whatever it is, off of...
Fruit Ninja.
Right, so basically, the documentary is about road racing, but not as in like anything you've ever seen. It's about the people that do it, and then the people that help the people do it or support them people, and actual, I don't know, the highs and lows of all that. Everything outside of the actual craziness of what is the racing.
So it's kind of everything but the racing.
Yeah.
In a way.
There's going to be a little bit of racing now.
Yeah.
If I ever get back on a motorbike, they might get some footage.
But it's more behind the scenes stuff, is that?
Yeah,
kind of...
everything.
What
Yeah.
under the skin? What motivates a racer?
So it's not-
What
it's not a
motivates a
sports
racer?
doc.
Yeah.
It's a doc with sports people and the mentality and the impact and
The psychology of it.
But we're...
I mean, not to
There's
jump
no
in here,
athletes,
but...
there's no
but
athletes in this documentary.
But you got
Lee.
one. Hold on, he's been here 2 minutes. He's an athlete. He was going to pedal
Oh,
down
he
here.
is. Yeah, he is.
Hold
to
on,
be fair.
we've got some people with a good idea. Lee, what motivates a racer?
What, like, as in different ones? So some are motivated by their religious beliefs. Some are motivated by the pound note, which would be Christian. That's not me. Other of us are motivated for the love of the sport. That's me. I'm here for the love of the sport. It's basically, yeah, pound notes and love of the sport.
Pound notes and
Some
love.
people both. He means that because that's what he says to me all the time.
Oh,
I'm
I
not.
can't wait to be a pound behind you,
Oh,
boy.
shut.
people are just...
Unbelievable. Can we change the subject now? Can we talk about something else?
Because obviously we're
So
rough
they're,
and ready.
They're doing a documentary for the BBC. They don't know what platform it's going to go out on yet. So whether it'll be like, as in BBC Two.
Oh, aye. The BBC.
Big up BBC Two. Send all your checks to my address, please. Will I get paid
What
before it
motivates a
starts, or how does- Cut that bit out. But that's different. That's TV. That's not right with motorbike. Yeah, so it's a documentary on like what we explained, but they don't know whether it'll be out at the end of the year or next year or whatever. I imagine there's quite a lot of content. That's not the right word, is it? Yeah, whatever, footage.
Yeah.
It's a gain.
So that's cool. So we've come in and basically
Yeah, you brighten the day up.
broke the day up. We've moved the BBC out of the way for a Chasin The Racing podcast, so that's pretty cool.
Grace will be proud.
She will.
That could be the title. Move over, BBC.
So loads has happened, obviously, since the last time you came on this podcast. Where do you want to start?
I'm trying to think.
So 2022.
Yeah.
What happened in 22?
Leading up to the crash.
I don't really. Do you know something that I don't really remember a whole? Not that I don't remember a whole lot. Like when we talk about it, I'll remember it. But like, this sounds bad. So like, say even at the Racer Awards, I won an award for like Race of the Year. And honestly, I think that was just a sympathy award that they gave me, I believe. But they rung and told me about it, and I didn't remember. I didn't remember what race it would be for, and I was too embarrassed to ask. Because I was like, he's going to think I'm...
In what year?
Like for last year, so the
For
start of the year,
23.
so it was like at Silver. It was one of the British, because I won some races at the start of the year, so it was one of them. But I knew I'd won some races, but I had no idea what the race was like, or I couldn't really, and I was never going to say.
So that's playing it down just a little bit. So
I know,
before you actually went to the Northwest, you were leading the British Supersport Championship.
Yeah,
You did the double at Silverstone. You had a DNF on the first one at Donington. I can't remember why.
yeah, I can't remember.
And then a third or a fourth.
yeah,
And then, so you're leading the British Supersport, like,
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, the year was going well. Like it was because we joke like all the time, even when we're at the track days. Like there's like road racers and proper racers like you, and do you know, like, because it annoys me a little bit when somebody tries to put you in a bit of a category or whatever. We just ride motorbikes, or I mean, it's the same sort of thing. So in my head, like at the start of 22, I thought I'm gonna have a good crack at trying to win the British Championship. I know I've always tried, but like.
you were feeling good and you were...
properly try. Like I wasn't gonna wait till after the roads and save myself and then win some races at the end of the year or whatever. I thought, right, I'm gonna go gung ho here and whatever happens. And yeah, we got as far as the Northwest, and then nothing was happening. So I was probably more frustrated about that sense, because people sort of think automatically, oh, you're probably upset about missing the TT in the Northwest, which I was massively, but I was more upset that I'd like proper got myself sorted out to have a go at winning the British Championship. And in my head, I wanted to try and win the British Championship and the TT on the same year, because that hasn't happened for like quite a long time.
And do you think that's possible?
Yeah.
Do you know when that last happened?
It was either Plater or David Jeffries.
Right.
Yeah, so they're both, well, David's obviously passed away, but Plater's about 300 years old officially. So even though he lies about it, so yeah, it's a long time ago. So like when he was at Factory Honda, I think, and he won Supersport Championship, and then he won at the TT that year. I think that might be wrong. Someone's probably going to comment in now and say you're talking shit, but that in my head, that's what I wanted to try and do, but we never got further than practice in the Northwest.
Yeah, no, just the question on that one, because I actually didn't realise someone had won a British short circuit, and because I've always in my own head, the road just put me off because I thought I can't concentrate on both. Oh. But I guess you and those guys have enough expertise around both. I think realistically to try and win a Superbike championship would be a stretch. Do you know what I mean? There's winning British championships and there's winning a BSB championship. So like David won the Superstock and Peter won the Supersport, and I was trying to win the Supersport. And so there's like, I'm not trying to play them down. Like they're good enough riders and good enough classes, but to win a Superbike championship is like, I think you need to focus on that maybe more so than.
What year was it when the Barry Sheen movement came in? You know, when they banned, was it the Formula One Championship, the World Championship, and they had to go to the TT? What year was that?
That's like your
mid-80s, was it not? I think, or early 80s, I bet it'll be. So the F1 TT used to be what World Superbike is now.
Yes, yeah.
But it basically had the Ulster.
Oh no, it had all the roads. It had all the big roads.
Not all, but the Isle of Man, Wanganui, but then you also went to Brands or wherever else.
Or somewhere in Finland or something maybe as well.
Yes.
So was that the last time it was done then? If you know what I mean, because you had to be a part of that championship. You know what I mean? But
it's championship, but they're different. That's
two
different.
entities.
British yeah, but now everyone there's probably only people that run like in the British. So like you got Pete and Dean. Mm-hmm. That's it, isn't it? You know,
but like you say, to win a whole championship and a TT.
Yeah,
that'd be.
Well, I think all honesty, McGuinness was a good short circuit, right?
Yes, he was. Yeah, people kind of forget, don't they?
Lost interest or whatever, but he was a doer. Do you know what I mean? Well, if you're good enough to ride in a Grand Prix race, it's like he's fast and he's won British Championship races. So, but yeah, I think same thing as interest was in.
But you also have another hat, and we did touch upon it then. You your team structure. I've never quite understood your team structure, but you kind of are your team.
I don't understand.
No, but you are your team, because there is no team without Lee Johnston. But obviously, you've got good sponsors and you've got good help, and just talk us through how your setup works.
So before I was team manager, Roger, my crew chief, was the team manager, and then he decided that he wanted to go and buy a barge and just do a bit of cruising about on that. So it was like he's really, really good crew chief at both the roads and the North or the British Championships. That's hard to get. So you could be a really good BSB crew chief, and then it's a whole different idea of you're not looking for 1/10 into turn 2. Do you know what I mean? You're looking for other things out of the bike, like to get around a whole lap and be easier for 6 laps and all these things. So I really wanted to keep Roger, but I couldn't afford then to employ another team manager as well as have a good crew chief as well. So I had no option. So then I had to just take on and run the team and do everything. He set everything up for me in the sense he's I can ring him at any point and go, geez, how do I do this, or who do I get this off or whatever. But I'm nearly self-sufficient now that I know all these contacts. But the funny thing when I started was that doesn't happen. So when I'd be ringing these suppliers and they're like, oh, hi, who is it? And I'm like, it's Lee. And they're like, why are you ringing? Or, do you know what I mean? So
have you not got a person for this?
Yeah, I'd probably saved maybe 50 grand a year in doing deals with companies like suppliers, because I'm there haggling the life. It's not even my money. It's my sponsor's money and stuff. But I'm just I've got that in me that I want to just haggle these people. Do you know what I mean? And I'm and then because they're dealing with me, they're like, that's okay, because I'm the one. Basically, if I do the deal, and I go, I'm going to have a go at this year. I'm going to win, or I'm going to try to win, or I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then when you get to the end of the year and you've done that deal and done quite well, or won a race or whatever, you feel like you've come good on your promise type thing. So I think I get far more like enjoyment or satisfaction from that. I know you do when you go to the team, or you'll know sponsors in your team, or you've become friends with them, even though they're not your sponsor, they're a team sponsor. So when you go into hospitality after you've won a race, you've got your chest out, you know what I mean? It feels good, doesn't it? No, so you imagine that even after you've done the deal, or even like say with your personal sponsors only. So it's the same.
It's even like it's exaggerated. It's even bigger.
So it feels good, I think, to bring companies on board and do all that, as well as all the shit side's not good though, because like I do all the organising so well. There's ferries for the TT, houses for the TT, Northwest, ferries for Northwest, BSB. Like you just heard me talking about sorting out the truck stuff and sorting out tractor units, and I do all the lads' wages, staff invoices, parts invoices, all that side of it. I don't enjoy, but anytime I'm doing or think about it, I just go, well, this is what helps me win, or so it's just like a.
We've taken on 2 full-time jobs. You were just a rider. Now, wait, no.
I'm not even going to say that. Like.
But is that? Oh, but you have a job.
Yeah, but I know. Like, well, Christy says this to me all the time. Like, anytime I'm like fed up or getting down, she'll be like, "Lee, there's loads of people that would love to ride a motorbike for a living and love to probably run a team. So you can't really moan about it. Not that it makes it any easier." But you can't really moan about it. There's loads of people would love to be in that position. So
I'm going to jump forward quite a lot, but you have run other riders within your setup as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to really jump forwards, but like, is that something you would continue?
I don't know, because it's like I said, doing all the crap jobs, but getting the joy of riding the bike.
But you'd end up doing it and not get the
reward. And I speak to more and more like team, like even like say like Wilf or someone would talk to me now a little bit like a team sometime, and they go, "Oh yeah, but you're still getting to ride the motorbike," and I'm like, yeah. So I don't know if that stops and you're going to the race weekend and I'm watching someone do bad on a weekend and I'm going like, I've sorted out all this and you're riding around there like an absolute.
In a way, did you kind of have that last year because you had Seth jump on your bike, and it was probably not the easiest. I don't think you gelled with the bike that easy. So did you have some frustration watching someone else on your bike, or?
It doesn't frustrate, because I know they're not my bikes, you know what I mean? And even now when I've got this injured this time, like quite a few people have rung looking for the bikes, and they have to ring me because so they don't ring.
Oh, that's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not.
The ambulance chaser actually has to go to the guy in the ambulance. That's
but that's not a normal thing. So if you think about it, they would normally ring a team manager, but they have to message me, or sometimes they'll have messaged Roger.
Is it like,
it comes to me?
Hi mate, how are you?
Yeah, but and you know they're not bothered about how you are, because I wouldn't be bothered. I'd want a motorbike. So I've got no emotional attachment to them. They're not my bikes. Someone else owns them. The teams. I'm lucky to get to ride them, and that's it. So there's no like. I think saying that they're mine is false. It's like having rich mates. If you hang around with them, it doesn't make you rich. You've just got rich mates. You know what I mean? It's a realistic thing. The bikes are all nice and the team's good and everything, but it's not actually mine. I don't own it, even though I might run it and stuff. So if you think like that, you're into like a false sense of.
But going back to that first year of like fully committing to being everything, you know, the rider and team manager and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
First round, was there any regret of taking on that role?
No, because we figured it out really well straight away. So like, say at a BSB weekend, there's 4 or 5 staff. So Roger would still run it, like as in he was still the boss. So the guys would never come to me for. So basically, we've got like a parts list in the truck. The truck's fully loaded with spares. So whatever they use, they'll just write down. And then they tell me, but if they need things like the fuel contract, the tyre contract, I'll have all that sorted out before. But if there's any problem, Roger would nearly always sort it on a race weekend, or he might ask me, and then we'd all just sit down on a Monday or talk on a Monday and go, right, all this needs order. And so I go like from Sunday night, regardless, good, bad, or whatever, I still have to get Monday morning and then order all the parts and do everything then. So it worked out all right. Like a race weekend, I was still just the rider.
The rider, yeah. So your head was clear and your head was...
You couldn't do that. Yeah. But the hard part was like when we were running somebody else. So say if we went straight from the Northwest or the BSB to the Northwest and the other rider had wrecked the bike or crashed the bike. So then I'd be getting to the first day of the Northwest, setting everything up, calming down. And then that night I'd be on ordering parts to build their bike, because the next BSB was the weekend after. That's when I'd be like, why have I done this, or why am I doing, because I wasn't making any money out of it, wasn't making me any more money or any other, but it was like, just that's what the team wanted to do at the time, so I couldn't not do it. So that was the only time when it used to frustrate me, if it was like away where I should be just concentrating on racing and I was still having to order other bits and pieces. But that's part of growing up, I suppose.
Because, like, what was it like? You ran Nathan Harrison at the Classic TT on your VFR, wasn't it?
Yeah, the RC45. Yeah.
The RC45, sorry, yeah. And it's like, was it different running someone on the roads to British?
Yeah, I was so stressed out, because it was like, I've never known what it's like to sit there, and I just set off, and you're like, ooh, do it, in your own world, just cruising around. Yeah, you don't really care. And he set off, and I've never had to look at the sectors. Like, I didn't have a clue how it even worked, and I was like, where's he got to now, Neil? And he's like, oh, he's at such and such, and he's nearly here. I was like, how do you know that? And he's like, oh, look, this will lay up. And I was like, this is amazing. And then the bike broke down, and I was like standing there flapping, and Milky, bless him, looked at me, because I don't know the names of anywhere even to. And Milky came over to me, and he goes, oh, he's at such and such. They've radioed in, he's fine. The bike's broke down. I was like, this is like such a well-oiled, and I'm just like, I'm good friends with Nathan, but I'm not his wife or his sister or his mum or anything. And I just thought, this is horrendous. Like, this is why does anybody enjoy this, or what?
Did that give you some idea what Christy potentially goes through then?
Yeah, and I haven't told her that, obviously, but no, I did think. And then,
are we going to edit that out?
Even when you look around and see the other people in the, like, even my mechanics, and obviously we're very close, all of us. You know what I mean? We've been together for a long time. But like you could see that connection they had with Nathan, and they were like, you can see it when worry in someone's face. Most other things you can't, and I could see it's like, these poor buggers get tortured here for 2 weeks, worrying that they've tightened everything and it's their bike. They've built it. You're in their hands, sort of thing. So yeah, I wouldn't. Team manager there must be
Would you do it again, like with anyone? Running someone.
Running?
I'm talking years on, like, you're going to come back racing, you're going to come back to this, but after that taste that you had.
Yeah, I don't know if that's maybe,
put you off it.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Like, you don't have any of that at British Championships. Like, it used to make me laugh when people say, oh, I'm nervous at British Championship. I understand you get nervous, but not that feeling of nervous. The nerves you get sitting at the TT or the Northwest is like different. But sitting at the British champ, I can't imagine what it's like for Glenn and them even going to the last round, and that's pressure, cooker nerves, but it's like the other danger nerves is maybe different nerves to the way people look at you and stuff like that at the TT.
You're willing to crash on a short circuit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you go TT or roads, it's like you're willing to push, but crash is a different. There is a difference on that side of things, isn't there?
Yeah, I haven't quite figured that part out yet.
I tell you what, let's just jump straight into it. Confidence was good, confidence high. You had the team, you had everything rolling. It was just, and for people who have been living under a rock, Lee's got vlogs out. You've got your social media presence. You've documented borderline. Like, when did you start the vlogs? Actually,
that's a really good question. I'm going to say like COVID. I must have been bored. Christy taught me into it. Because we were bored, it was like a bit of a joke, and then. By
the way, Christy does all the editing. For people not knowing, she does all the editing.
Yeah. I was already talking crap, so filming it was just like a 1% more effort than. So I don't do anything. She does everything.
No, but like even. It's almost like you've been doing vlogs your entire life, because like pretend you're not here for a second. I'm going to talk about you, but it's like it's a case of you're such a character in the sport, but also a serious competitor, if you know what I mean. You can't. It's like if you were just a character, you're borderline. You have to earn the respect after that. You're fast and a character, and that's what the sport needs. So when the vlogs came out, it was like, oh, he's been doing these for years, and it's actually COVID. There's the answer.
It used to irritate me thinking what. I have to be careful the way I say this. Like people's opinion of like I used to get people come up to me and go, "Oh, you're so lucky, you've got this bike and this team and everything." I'm like, it didn't fall out of the fucking sky one morning. Like I didn't wake up here and it turned up. Like I used to go in my van with my dad from Ireland, like every night on the ferry, and like you go, I'm telling you now, once you race at Brands Hatch and have a shit weekend and you have to drive back to Holyhead, get the 2 a.m. boat with your dad and then go to work with him the next morning, you might not speak it to you till Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not, and they think, because they maybe didn't see that, they automatically just think, oh well, it's like the world nowadays, if they want everything off, you just order something off your phone, or it's like off Wish or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm just going to be a motorbike racer tomorrow, I'm just going to get that. And it's like, this is not the way it happens. Do you know what I mean? They don't see all, and that sort of way the vlog started as a joke, and then I thought, oh, I'm just going to like be honest and just say, like, some days are crap. Do you know what I mean? And I spend most of my life on the M62 driving. Do you know what I mean? It's crap, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't get to ride motorbike. So that's sort of way I wanted it to be. And then I think the best thing, if you just say it how it is, then you never have to worry about, you know, keeping up this glamorous appearance that I've got. Do you know what I mean? I'm like the same, and I think Whittam taught me that. Like, people meet me all the time at Whittam and they're like, oh, he's just the same as, I was like, yeah, he's literally, that's the way he is. He's the same person on the TV as he, like, he doesn't know how to be any different. So I think that's the best sort of way to be, and then you're not fooling anyone. And
your vlogs are very open and honest, probably like some of the most open and honest things you could, at times I've got to admit, it's almost difficult to watch, like the ones that you've had since your Northwest crash. You're obviously going through some pretty
dark time,
pretty heavy stuff. Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I think at the time, it's so funny now laughing about it. At the time when I was doing it, I was probably that off my head that I didn't know what I was doing. But Christy was like, oh, it's the right thing to do. And it was, now I know it was the right thing to do. But if I had waited another 3 or 4 weeks and been more conscious of what I was, I probably wouldn't have done it. Do you know what I mean?
But wouldn't it be?
But that's fine. But like, some of the things I've had, like, people come up to me after it, like people talking about suicide and all these things. And I was like, and I had no idea. I was just waffling about what was happening. And it was like hard and just saying exactly what was going on. And then when people then started saying like how it helped them or what was happening, I was like, and then Christy was like, well, that was the, you know, that was sort of the point of doing it. Just because all these people, everybody thinks you are like these superheroes. They put on these leathers, they've got a mint job, they don't have to work for a living, get paid a few quid. Life could not be easier. Do you know what I mean? You get hurt, you disappear, you come back, put your suit on, you're a superhero again. They don't see all the suffering. And that was like I just wanted to go, right, this is what actually happens when you hit a wall at 50 or 60 mile an hour on your bike. You know what I mean? This is the suffering. This is what your poor family has to go through. Everybody has to go through. And that was the point of it. Like, this is not this. It is great. Like, we're really lucky to do what we do, but this is the shit.
The highs are high, but the lows can be really low. Of the injuries that you sustained then at the Northwest crash, what was the hardest to recover from? The mental side or the physical side?
I think at different times, different things. So like at the start, the first thing was like my head. Like, I literally, at the time,
and you also mentioned it was a lot of guilt involved in it.
Oh yeah, but I know, like, I believed at the start that I, like, went to sleep and somebody else had woke up. Like, I thought there was somebody else in my, like, this is, it sounds mental now saying about it, but it was that, like, gone in my own head. I was like, there's somebody else here. And the best thing that happened to me, there was a young surgeon that came in, and he started talking to me, and he wasn't, I don't know if he was even mine, he was on shit, he was only like, he was just ended up, we chatted every day. I don't know whether he come to my room at dinner time or what, but he was interested. And he was like talking, he was like, well, how would you feel to see in person? He's like, what do you do normally? He's like, so you're driven, yeah, you run the team, yeah, you ride motorbikes, yeah, you train like mad, yeah, you know, you look after yourself, yeah. He says, what all them things can you do now? He says, you can't go to the toilet, you can't wash yourself, you can't get out of bed, you can't go on your bicycle, you can't go on your motorbike. He says, so how would you feel like the same person? Even though that it wasn't that, but that was like, and then I went, oh yeah. But it was like loads of people, and I went to see psychologists and stuff, and they told me like the simplest thing, like I was like, it wasn't even like this, I was waiting to hear this like really intelligent thing, but it was like, they're always simple things. I was like, why could I not just think of that? But you can't at that time. So at the start, like for the first couple of weeks, I was like going, like I thought I'd let everybody down and all these things, and that was framing my head. And then probably after a week of being out of the coma and stuff, and then just the volume of pain was just savage. Like, because you can't, like when you break your arm or your leg, you get little spells where you lay on the sofa and you get a bit comfy and you go, it's all right now. Do you know what I mean? The pain goes away. But when you break your foot, your femur, your arm, your shoulder, your other arm, your face, your ribs, both sets of ribs. So it just goes round and round. So like my foot would be sore, then my femur, then my shoulder, then my arm, then my foot, then my femur, and it was just like there was never a minute off. That was the intensity of it. So it was never all sore at one point, because that's not possible. But it was like you never got a second off. You know what I mean? You'd sleep I used to go to take my tablets at 9, and I swear that you'd take them like 20 minutes or half an hour to work. I'd doze off and I'd wake up at like 10:10, and I'd be like, fuck, I have to wait for 4 hours before I'm allowed more tablets. And everyone would be going, it used to get paranoid at like 8, 7, 8 o'clock at night, because everyone was going to bed. You'd be sitting there, laying down there going, 4 hours, 3 hours 45. that was literally, so you just wish the night away. Then you take some, then you slept for another hour, and then you take some else, and then everyone would get up, and you'd have this like when you do a 24-hour race, when you get to like light time, you're like, oh, this is great, everyone's getting up now. And that's all that happened for like a month probably.
Like, what were you like with, like, you know how John McGuinness was very open with like tramadol, like Joe Ackroyd on the show, you know, did you have a big shake with drugs?
They never give me that, to be fair. Yeah. I don't deal well on morphine, I don't like it. And so when I left, I can't remember what tablets they were, like, but there was just tablet form. And I remember when I got here, so I signed myself out of the hospital. Neil come and got me in the van, because they wouldn't fly me over because of my lung. So he just come and picked me up, and I booked myself on the ferry. And I had to check back into Huddersfield to get some tablets. And I'll never forget the doctor. He just was like looking through the list, and he just went, these tablets won't be any use for that there. And I was like, oh, can I have something else? And he was like, no, this is just what you've been prescribed. It must have been the chemist that said it or something. I was just like, what, you wouldn't just give me something else? And then after that, I was like, he was right, because it was just literally sore all the time. So I never got hooked on anything, because I didn't have anything good enough to get hooked on. I think that was the savior of it, yeah. But yeah.
But we're gonna have to go back a little bit further. But I want to talk about the build up to that race, you know, the Northwest. We're just going to talk about, like, we're talking about everything was going in your vlogs, everything was flowing, you know, you've won race at Silverstone. Yeah. What I like about him, he just downplays everything, doesn't he?
That was a big downplay. I mean?
It was a massive downplay.
The British Championship is like a downplay and a half.
Exactly, just because your television mates are here, you know.
In the British Championship.
Oh yeah, Mr. Humble. It's like he came in, trophies in his arm.
Big deal, you know.
So no, but leading into that, well, to be blunt, what can you remember leading up to that race?
Oh, nothing. Well, when I crashed, my last memory, and I was laughing about this, is seeing Connor Cummins. So we rid out of the pits, and Connor must have been he was riding out at the same time, and I just give him a bit of a wave, like, as in, oh, I'll give you, not saying that I'm faster than him, but like, he's big, so I thought, I'll give you a slipstream round, you know. And he'd have done the same for me if we ever seen each other ride out. And that was my last memory. So my brain switched off from there. I don't even remember going around turn 2 or anything. I literally from Connor, and then I woke up the 5 days later or whatever.
Is it weird because it was filmed? Is it weird to watch something that you actually did?
Yeah, so I
because obviously that's somewhere in your brain, but it's been erased. Like the fact knowing that you were there and in that moment, and actually you don't remember any of it.
Yeah, I tried to explain it to like someone. You know, like someone says to you, "What's your youngest memory?" And it's not actually what you remember; it's what someone's told you did when you were a kid. Do you know what I mean? You don't remember being.
Do you
3.
remember the memory, or do you remember someone telling you that's what you done?
So if I woke up in hospital, right, and whoever come in to see me first says, "Oh, Lee, you're not going to believe this. We were in the Anchor. Somebody's knocked you over the head and you've knocked yourself out, and this is what's happened." Mm-hmm. And I would not have known if no one ever showed me that footage, or I wouldn't have known any different. Do you know what I mean? So that's the.
Do you regret watching it?
Nah, because it was like I was already sore, I was already broken. It was like I wasn't
didn't change the outcome.
Yeah, I wasn't going to watch it and go. You know, you wind back, think, oh, maybe if I don't tuck my front this time, it's just like if I wind it back. So, yeah, it was hard to watch because I'm like. I know that because I was conscious and stuff, so it's like my brain is actually it knocked me out, but then I come round and my brain chose for me not to see any of that, you know. So that's how God knows how your body works or how smart it is to do all that. But yeah, so I don't know when the doctor spoke to me after, but I don't know when they give me whatever drugs to sedate me or whatever at that point. But from then I've no recollection till waking up in the I don't know what the right word's called, like
recovery or the
coma.
Oh, you're in intensive care. Sorry, you're in there for a week or so, weren't you?
Yeah, because they've got like there's no walls in intensive care; they're all glass things. I don't know why that is, to see through or so the doctors can see or whatever. But yeah, that was my first sort of thing of seeing that. So from Conor Cummins to glass walls was like the last two things.
You didn't do any other practices, nothing like that. That was literally your Northwest only last memory kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, you can't remember a lot prior to that.
No. Because even to the point where the guys were ringing me there talking about parts, and I didn't know that we'd tried parts on a certain bike and things like that, you know, like on the little Aprilia and
just
things.
gone.
I was like, oh, where's these wheels come from? And they turned up on like the Tuesday of the Northwest, and I was like, no.
Proper.
I've no but obviously I've got memories, because then I'd seen pictures of what we did on the like we all went out on the Tuesday night for some food and things like that there, so yeah.
But no, as far as going back and watching it, probably the way I phrased it's probably wrong, but did you get worried about watching it? Because I've watched a couple of my crashes back, and you click on, and the only thing that runs through my head is this going to put me off?
Yeah.
That's my personal side of it. Because
we've had this conversation about like riders' opinions on, some riders believe that nothing bad's ever going to happen to them. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how that everyone's entitled to their own thing, whatever gets them round. Do you know what I mean? But I'm fully aware of, like, if you put your hand in the fire enough times, you're going to get burnt. That's the laws of the world. Do you know what I mean? So I content with that, and I can live with that, and that's, you know what I mean? Maybe that's why I'm not that fast, because that's in the back of my head or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't bother me in the sense where I can understand that, and yeah, watching it or whatever is not gonna. I think the only thing at the time when I come round, like, me and Christy had some really good conversations about, like, I said to her, you know, like, and she would never say, you know, stop racing or whatever. But I said, like, if I'm fit to race, you know, if I'm fit to do it properly, I want to go racing, but I've got no interest if I'm going back and my shoulder's not right or this, and I'm just there for being there. And I don't mean that in a nasty way, or of anyone, you know, that's not there or whatever. I'm just, that's my opinion of, that's what I wanted to do.
If you're going to do it, you need to be able to do it properly. If I'm going to risk this, I want to be trying, because the only enjoyment you get is that high feeling, do you know what I mean, of doing well. So that was the rules, and we sort of sat down and said that and stuff. So yeah, that's the only thing and that road to recovery was going pretty well.
Yeah, mint. Yeah, I literally, this is make you laugh. 2 weeks before I crashed in Spain, I literally woke up one morning and I said to Christy, I was like, you know what, I feel good. Like, I'm not sore. I feel fit. I feel like there's nothing. No part of my body's hurting. I'm not limping. I'm not, like, I felt really good. So in the last year, I've had 2 weeks of my life where I've felt like me again, you know, like fresh and good. So yeah.
Because I think I was on the first track day you did back, which was Anglesey, probably, was it October maybe last year? So you have been back on a bike for
a bit,
a little bit. And then I've seen you doing loads out in Spain. Because we'd actually...
we tried to
we spoke about it. So that's... when I watched your vlog, obviously, it said how you'd sort of rushed out to go and do the Cartagena where you crashed. So for those that are living under a rock, Lee's now hurt again.
Yeah.
He's got a cage on his leg. You broke your tib and fib.
Accessory on it.
Is it just tib and fib?
Yeah.
I didn't mean just, but like it's tib and fib.
There's literally not a mark on me anywhere else, and even anywhere else on my leg wasn't even bruised. My foot, not a.
So you went out track day in.
Yeah.
Can you remember everything?
Oh yeah, I was conscious. Yeah, enough. And it made me laugh, because there's like some of them Spanish track days. The marshals are a bit iffy and ever, and this little Spanish kid
should go to Kyrgyzstan.
I know. Yeah, that's Irish people. But yeah, he spoke real good English. Bless him. You know, we come over. It's probably only like 20 odd, and I was like, he's like, "You all right?" And I was like, "Nah, mate, I broke my leg." And then, because I just said like, "I've broke my leg," like, as in, and he went, "Oh," and then I could see his brain go, "Oh, fuck." He was like waving the flag, and he started shouting on the radio. I was like, "I'm all right." And I looked down, my foot was like the other direction a little bit. And I was like, oh, have you got some gas and air? But like the car, they can't, like my English wouldn't be great anyway, but they could speak any English. So I was like this here, and the woman was like, oh, you can't breathe. I just like started them like pressing on me. I was like, no, listen, I can breathe. I just want some drugs. She was like, no, you're not allowed any drugs. I was like, oh God. But they use like, so we'd get like gas and air or something, but they use, I don't know why I'm looking at you guys. What do you like to take when they, like as in like a recreational drug? No, like people take it.
Cocaine?
No.
If you didn't hear, I'm sorry. If you didn't hear that, that was the smoothest delivery of the word cocaine in my life.
I don't think we get that in the BSP Med Centre.
Like, what do you lads? Yeah, what do you get when you crash? You get a line of coke, don't you? Like,
what do you call it? Like, not like people take it as a drug, but it's like a calms you down or takes.
I seen you with some kind of canister or something.
Oh, that was over here, but
Ketamine?
Ketamine. So they give you in Spain. They get, and she was
Special
like,
K.
"You're not allowed gas in the air, but you can have ketamine." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, that's the one. So yeah, that ripped me off till I went to the hospital, and but yeah, they put my cast on me straight away and stuff, and they wanted to pin it out there, but I'd rung home and had to speak to some.
Did you just want to get home?
Yeah. I did straight away. I was like, this is. There was one doctor, bless him, and he could speak a bit of English, but that was it. I couldn't even ask for a glass of water. Like nobody said, and like that's not their fault. I was there. I should have been trying to speak Spanish, but I just thought I don't need to be here right now. I can't negotiate an operation when I have no idea what's being said or anything. So
I tell you what, I must ask. You were speaking to a family, like your sponsor and family friend, Roy Armstrong. I have to give him a shout out because I get bollocked if I don't give him a shout out. But he was obviously talking on the phone, and he was saying like, you're in good fettle and you're upbeat about a horrible situation. But he was talking about how you got an absolute bollocking off the doctor when you land
back.
Yeah, is that because of the? Explain that.
Really supposed to. So I sort of. We've talked about this as well. I like get a lot of enjoyment out of talking away in out of situations. I don't know why. I have since I was at school, but I managed to tell the surgeon in Spain. I got him to. So when you break your tib and fib, they put like a full leg cast on you. So it's like from your ankle to your balls basically. So I thought, well, I can't get on the plane with this thing, so I talked him into cutting the cast down for me to below my knee, and then I got some of the people from the track day company, they were so good, like Bike Promotions, they come and pick me up at the hospital, and we managed to get one of them. Do you know if you go into a factory you get like a boot cover thing that goes over your shoes, like a blue thing? I thought, right, well, I need one of them because they're going to see the cast, so I got that. And then I got some
big blue
drugs out of the chemist. I bought some crutches for €22, and he dropped me off. Oh, not them, some English ones. Spanish ones are in the house. He dropped me off at the track because my car was at the track, or my boss's car, so it was automatic. So I then drove that to the hotel I was staying at because I needed to get my stuff because I was there on my own. So I got my stuff, booked my flight, and then I flew back. I drove up to the airport the next day and flew back. But so yeah, I got in on the crutches, and then I managed to blag a wheelchair in the airport. But if I tell you what, if you're ever at the airport again, if there's a big queue, just go to the wheelchair thing because you get like straight through all the security and everything. And
everyone's going in with blue shoes on in a wheelchair.
But then I got through, and the bloody flight was delayed by like 3 hours. So I sat there. It was like the longest day of my life. But my van in England was at Manchester Airport, and I couldn't drive a manual, obviously. So Whittam, bless him, come on the train to meet me. And some guy recognised me on the plane, was sat behind me and started talking to me. And I says, oh, mate, if you give me a push off, he was in a rush. I says, you'll get through security. So he pushed me the whole way through Manchester Airport. So if he's watching this, he's messaged me since. And he got me the whole way through. Like Manchester Airport's massive. Pushed me the whole way out through security. And then he was peaking because he was like a bit of an older man. And then once he got to meet Whittam as well, that was like his payment. I was like, there you go. So yeah, then Whittam brought me back. Whittam brought me back to here. And then the next morning I went to... So I rung the hospital to try and tell them, and she said, oh, you just need to come to A&E. So I went to the desk at A&E, and the woman says, what's wrong? I said, oh, I broke my leg. She went, all right, well, you've got a cast on. I was like, yeah, I broke it yesterday in Spain. And she like looked at me and she went, all right, sit down. And then these people come over. There's like admin people, or they're not like a doctor or a nurse, but they like take notes and stuff. So she come, And then she was like not convinced of what I was saying. So then a doctor come and then a surgeon come, and I was like, this is all in the waiting area of it. And I was like, I'm sure this shouldn't be happening. And they were like, I don't think they believe me. And then this other woman come and she was like, oh, so what have you taken? And I was like, what, like these Spanish painkillers? She was like, no, like what drugs have you taken? I was like, what do you mean? She was like, well, why would you fly home with a broken leg like a day after without taking? I was like, I've come from a track day and I haven't come from a beefer. I'm like, I didn't know what she meant, or I was ever like, and I was like, I think because it was like normal me, that was like normally quite
that's why you met the film crew. Like.
Yeah, normally quite sharp. I probably would have like ripped at her again, but I was like, I had no idea what she was even talking about. I was like, you're going to do blood tests. You're pretty sure I'm going to be fine. But yeah, the doctor then went mental that he said, like, do you realise how dangerous it is? I was like, yeah, but I took 2 of them blood clotting injections that morning, so I thought, I was like, if I'd have cut my finger, I'd have probably died. Because my blood was that thick.
Why is it dangerous?
Yeah,
because you get blood clots, apparently. But I basically got out of the hospital. I thought, right, I need to go home. The safest and the best thing is to be like in an English hospital. So in my head, I wasn't trying to be brave or anything. I literally, that was the thought process. I want to go home. I need to see this doctor or this surgeon, blah, blah, blah. And then that's what I did. And then like Christy rang, she's like, oh, do you need us to come out? And I was like, no, that'll take longer. I was just like, I can get there. I can get on the plane. It's fine. And I'm sorted. But the doctor didn't see it that way in the hospital. He was like going bananas. Yeah.
And the crash itself wasn't your fault?
No, something broke on the bike. Yeah, a little R-clip on the pin that holds the pads in. And
it was first session, just straight out.
So nothing.
So did the pin shear or work out?
So the R-clip holds the pin in, obviously, and then the pin just came out. It was like a new bike. Just been to like it was proper looked after, and I was just 1 in a 1 million chance. And then I've spoke to people after, and apparently this is something that happens on a Yamaha. You're not sponsored by Yamaha, are you? OMG, is that all right?
Yeah, they're official Yamaha team, but don't worry about it.
So yeah,
they run superbikes. They run superbikes. All
people said that after and stuff, but and then you could say like you could go down a main hole there, going, "Oh, why has this happened?" and everything, but it happened. Do you know what I mean?
They have stopped making the R1. You know that, don't you? Do you reckon they watch your vlogs?
The basis of Lee Johnston.
Yeah, they've discontinued the R1 there. I was like, right,
sorry, Yamaha. Yeah, so that was it, and then just operate. So the next day, then I got a temporary fixator put on, which is like a real weird looking, just screw into your shin and like some carbon bars down either side. Jesse thought it was mint because it looked like Lego. So that was on for a week. They won't put a cage, like a full-time fixator cage on, because the bone had like pierced the skin a bit, and it, like, so there was a cut, so you're not allowed any broken skin for an infection, or because then they might want to drill the rods and stuff. So
because you had it fixated instead of rodded because of racing.
Yeah, pretty much. So the chances of it like hurting my knee afterwards, and then if I crashed again, and because when they rod it goes down the centre of the bone, and like if you bend that again,
I remember, I think it was Andy Reid, he bent his one and then they can't get it out because obviously you can't get a bent rod out of a bone.
Yeah.
But, since your femur break at the Northwest, have you had the metalwork removed from that to go back racing?
No.
So is it because you had a rod like?
No, nothing like that. No, I'm just literally because the when they rod your bottom of your leg, there's quite not a high percentage, but an okay percentage of like your knees, not what it normally is. And I'm obsessed with cycling, so that just rung a bell straight away. And then the big thing was that if it gets bent again, and I don't want to stop anytime soon. So I thought if I've got another 3 or 4 years, the chances of maybe doing that again is
it's the better long-term solution for sport.
And the time frame wasn't even that crazy different. Do you know what I mean? You could maybe start doing stuff on it, but like still, then you shouldn't really be like properly doing stuff on it.
And the time, because you seem super upbeat.
Yeah, you do.
No, considering what's going on. But considering what's going on, and considering how obviously you've had a massive hit, you've got through it. Literally, you said you had 2 weeks feeling good, and then you've been dealt a shit hand.
Overrated.
No, you've been dealt a shit hand, but you seem like super positive.
I think that is like, I've learned so much from the first hit.
I was going to ask that, but you've done it already. Thank you.
And more so from Christy. I think like we read a lot of books and talk about things like that and psychology, and like I read even something the other day. I don't know if I showed you that in the book, didn't I? It was like pain and what was the second word? No, pain and agony and agony are two completely different things, because you can't do anything about pain because it's put on you when something bad happens, but you create your own agony. It's like prolonged pain. So you could sit here and say I'm being sore and everything, or else you could either take the painkillers or start. Like when I went to the hospital yesterday, the guy was like, I walked into the ward after 3 weeks, and that never happens. And I said, oh, he said, what are you doing? I said, oh, like I'm on my bicycle and everything. And he looked at me like I had two heads. I was like, oh, I've got my pedal moved out so I can like still ride my bicycle and things like that. And they were like, I don't know, they meant it in the best possible way, but I don't know what they actually thought of it. But it was like, in my head, these are all like just normal things to get from A to Z or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of things in your own head are, you can manage. Like I'm not, there is days where I'm fed up and I'm pissed off and whatever else, but like all that is your choice. You don't, you can't choose that this has happened and the shit hit the fan, but everything after that you can choose how you deal with it, how you're going to move forward with it, how you think about it, how you know, all them things are actually your choice. So I think that's the thing where you can sit and go, oh, this is shit, and then you just go down this hole of everything shit, you know,
and it doesn't fix you.
But it doesn't fix you. It doesn't make you feel any better. It doesn't ease. It makes you worse off. Yeah. So, and you've chose that from that one little seed that you've chose to water. Do you know what I mean? So, and I've learned all that from the first crash. Like Christy says all the time, oh, everything happens for a reason. And I was like, I'd have took like a little bit of a broken arm, do you know what I mean? Rather than my whole body. I swear I would have learned from a broken arm. I didn't need all this to like learn all these things about myself. Like I think I'm a better person for it, but yeah, that would have done me, I think.
But the mad that like, yeah, people don't realise, but yet again, it's all on your vlogs, but how close, you know, that shoulder rebuild was proper touch and go. And even watching your vlogs, we were actually watching it on the way down. It's the fact that you can use crutches.
Oh, my shoulder now is, like, well, that's it. I went to my physio, so like they tried to give me a prosthetic shoulder at the time because the arm was
like people don't realise that.
You know what I mean? And luckily Christy and Phil, my boss, were there. Were like, you need to try and fix him. And the other lucky, like this is, so like 3 or 4 things happened after the crash that were randomly.
Just one quick, during that, were you able to make decisions?
No.
You weren't?
I never woke up from,
so they fought your corner for this?
They fought my corner for me, yeah.
Who?
That's what I laugh. Like, if you've seen Christy, like, she's the quietest thing in the world, and like doesn't want to make a decision, and it's just like, and then when like,
but she wants a husband with 2 arms.
But then when the shit really hits the fan, like she made loads of massive decisions when I was in hospital. Yeah, so I've said to her now, I goes, this fobbing off big decisions now. I was like, I know that you could do all this and cope, and you were like fighting. She went that day after the crash, got the camera off the bike, watched the footage to make sure, so then she could go to the doctors the next day and show them the footage of where I was hurt and why that rib was broken, why this lung was collapsed and why that arm. So then that would help them, like, even things to think of. And if you'd have seen her, like, there's no way you'd say she would do that. Do you know what I mean? That's not the type of person she is. But,
and looking after your son, the 2 dogs, the house.
Yeah. And me.
But no, but you know, all that to the side and then just chucking in decision. You know, it's like, it's mad because it's like, God love it. When did you lose your dad, Everett?
17, yeah.
17, you know what I mean? It's not like, when you think about...
That's when things like that, you think, it's funny, like when you think about something, it's when something really good or something really bad happens, that's your automatic thing as to who to call. But yeah, I said this to Chris, like, people say, oh, it was hard for me or whatever, but she was suffering for 5 days before I even knew what was, you know, I can't remember coming around and it was like, you like at the start, the first 2 days are great because you're that off your head, you're not sore, you know what I mean? It's like cheat code for 2 days. But then it's hard. But yeah, the people around you are who really suffer, do you know what I mean? And they don't even get to ride the bloody motorbike.
You know, obviously, you know, you pick who you want to marry, but it's like, people don't realise how strong of a character. No.
Some religions.
They are. But class. But it's mad because, like, you know, a lot of marriages fall apart of like a simple push bike accident. You know, you went out for a push bike. I'm not looking after you. I'm not doing this. It's like the fact of like you chose each other. It's people don't realise. The same with Nicola and yourself. You know what I mean? Like racing partners. It's just.
I argue that in some senses where I'm lucky that this is my job, do you know what I mean? And I go, look, this is how...
He's admitted it's a job now.
But we paid for the house like this, or, you know, everything I have in life is because of motorbikes. So I think it's worse if some guy is at a track day and gets wrecked and he's a joiner, a plumber, electrician. I think that's worse than what's happened to me, 100%. There was a guy in the hospital when I was there, and he crashed at the Northwest, not at the race, but at the track. But somebody pulled out in front of him in a car, and he'd already been in the hospital for 4 months when I got there, and he was still in the trauma ward, like he was in a bad way. So I seen that and I thought, you're far worse off than me. Do you know what I mean? You've got no excuse, really. I was like, this is my job. This is what happens. I'm paid to push, and this is what's went wrong. He was riding home. He might have been doing God knows what, but someone still pulled out in front of him and writ him off. So I think that's far worse than what happens to us, because we sign up for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we know what's going off, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, after that crash, I know we keep going back onto this crash, and you had to get a prosthetic arm. You know, your leg didn't fix properly. You know, bones didn't heal, everything like that. What would have life been like for Lee Johnston now? That is a terrifying notion for me sitting here. Like, you know what I mean?
That was the conversation. Like I said, the shoulders, like that's like what, like it finished like Hodgson and like a lot of top riders. You know what I mean? You can't do anything about it. So I was stressed about that for like a good 3 or 4 months. And even the physio, like any physio I went to, of like one in Holland, one here, and the first conversation was always like, like normally people like I try and sell you the dream and go, oh, we'll fix this or whatever, and they were all like, it's not good. The only good thing was like apparently there's the distance between the arm and the socket is good. The further the distance, that means, so like when your shoulder turns, it needs that distance so it doesn't catch and you know, stop it from turning. And that was all they ever said was, oh, there's a good distance there and the surgeon's done a good job. And I went to like a private surgeon in Manchester for another opinion, and they were all like, oh, it looks like it should work, but that doesn't mean anything. So yeah, then trying to get, like, I couldn't do nothing. My rotator cuff would have went to like there. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing, and now my whole both arms are completely
insane.
Same as what I could.
We were saying that watching the vlog, the fact that you've got a cage on your leg and you're just hobbling around on crutches, and it, like me and him were like, he had no shoulder a handful of months ago.
Yeah, but it's funny because the same physio had treated a patient with a prosthetic shoulder, and it was like they literally
couldn't do
that there. Like, and I remember him saying to me, he says, Lee, you're so lucky that someone was there to argue, you know, because all they wanted to do was keep me alive, and that was like one of the big, I think I was in surgery for like 10 hours, and that was a good percentage of it was fixing because there's like 15 screws and a plates from there to there. My arms, you wouldn't know how they'd even fit 15 screws in my arms that small, because it was that broken, and then that hit the socket, and that damaged the socket, so the socket's wired. So both things, that's what made it complicated. Like, it wasn't just the socket, or it wasn't just the arm.
And how often are you getting that checked up on?
Nothing now. It's been signed off. It's like, so yeah, probably 3 or 4 months ago was like the last time I'd been to the hospital, and I'd never been to like the NHS physio or anything. It was all just private. And
so you're all good from back then.
Oh yeah, it was perfect.
And this one seems like it's going to heal pretty good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, everyone looks at it bad because it looks ugly.
Yeah.
But in my head, it's just a broken leg. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's
dealt with worse.
Yeah, it's like it's not going to stop me. There's no worry that I'm not going to be fit to ride a bike.
Can you lift it up? Let's have a. Yeah. I tell you what, this is a good sponsor plug, by the way. This is how you do it.
I've actually got my snood on.
He's got a Brobeer's oil snood on it.
Well, it's actually like the surgeon took the.
That is looking class.
We had a bit of banter with the surgeon, and he was good crack and I was having a debate with him in the surgery room, and then I was winning the debate, and then he put me to sleep, the frigger, so I never got to finish the conversation. But when he come round to check me up after, he was taking the mick out, and he was like, oh, I haven't put one on that size for at least a year, and it was like on somebody's arm, because it was so small. But that's all I was worried about, because like if you had like a big, I thought there were only going to be one size, and it would have been like a saucepan on my leg. So, but yeah, it's not. I've got no pain in it or anything, you know, as long as it's kept warm and stuff.
So for you going forward,
that's the only downside.
Have you got a time frame? You're just leaving it to just
So I was in yesterday. We went. I took him into to see the specialist with me, because we go in with like the mindset of, right, yeah, if he showed you a thread of hope, you're like, oh, I'm fixed. Do you know what I mean? So we come out.
It's like when you punch in the sat nav and it says 3 hours, you go, I'll do it in 2. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
straight
yeah,
away.
yeah.
It's exactly the same,
So-
innit? We just do it with injuries.
We come out, and I said to him, I was like, right, let's be honest. Did you hear what I heard? And then I said, you explain what you've heard now. And it was like completely different conversation. We weren't even in the same room. But no, it was good. Like, they don't normally even X-ray somebody at 3 weeks. I sort of fought my corner a little bit to get an X-ray. It looks like it's starting to knit and stuff. So it's definitely positive. And I'm doing everything. All I know is I'm doing everything I can, like with the chamber and the lasers and everything. So I know that when I am fixed, I've fixed it as quick as I could. Do you know what I mean? I haven't sat on the sofa and hoped that it was going to fix and did nothing. Do you know what I mean? So I can live with that whenever it's this month, next month, whatever. That's all I can do, really.
What about results-wise? You know, we briefly talked about how you go racing for a reason, and that's to push and like build up. You know, so what is your attitude to this season? Mate, you've been dragged through hell. You haven't been just had a walk through it. You've been dragged through it. And
I think it's hard in the sense because we all, like, I'm competitive, obviously, like we all are, but the hard part for me will be like like a good comparison is when the last injury, I was like praying to get back on my bicycle, and I thought when I get on my bicycle and I ride down the road, I'm gonna love it. I was so excited, and the first day I got on, and Christy was on the driveway watching me, and I rid down the road, and I went for a couple of miles and come back. She was like, well, what was it like? I was like, it was shit. I'm shit. My leg's shit. I feel shit. She was like, what? She was like, what? You've been like wanting to do this for ages. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I'm no good. She was like, well, not what we expect. My leg was about this size. So I was like, in my head.
Because didn't you lose like 10 kilos or something?
I was like 54 kilos. So I was when I was like, up like fit to walk again. And Christy was like, what planet are you on? And I was like, I know, but why can't I just be... I don't know what I was expecting. In my head, I was just going to get on the bicycle and put out the same watts I was doing. So yeah, I have to be realistic that I'm going to need some time but that's why I was flat out in Spain riding and stuff. Like I wanted to...
Were you feeling good on the bike when you were out in Spain?
Yeah, really good.
Back to normal?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say like race normal, but I was probably like 80-90%. Like it nearly takes you 1 or 2 BSBs
100%,
to get going. So, and I'd missed a year. So yeah, probably by the time I'd got to the Northwest, I think I would have been not too bad, but we don't know. So yeah, as far as results go, I don't know. I just want to enjoy riding my bike again, and then I don't want to get there and not be at the front, and then it be like annoying me, because I remember what lying on the sofa watching was like. So I'm just going to go and enjoy being there and just try as much as I can and see.
Obviously, with the road, you have set races, so you're clearly going to miss the start of British Supersport because it's round the corner. But with the road, you've got set events. Do you have something in your own head?
Yeah,
the one you'd like to get back for?
I want to be back for the Northwest. That's the aim. Do you know what I mean? That's a stretch, but that's what I'm trying like mad for at the minute. Like that's what the doctors are laughing at me about. But
they know you by now.
yeah. So that's what I'm aiming at, and I think you need these goals. Like that was the other thing. Like the last time I was injured, and not a lot of people know, but like because I was supposed to go to Daytona, but I had signed up for that when
I'd just seen it, and then I was so excited.
But it was
good entry.
When I'd done the deal, I probably wasn't fit to go. But then that was the thing that then drove me like mad to get fit. So that nearly hurt me more.
Having that a target can be so good, can't it?
Yeah. But then when I got hurt, I was like devastated. Even though I'd never been to Daytona, no one cared really if I went or not, like outside of the team was riding for whatever. But in my head I was a little upset because that was my aim for what I was getting fit for. But yeah, sometimes it's good to set targets, and then other times, like even when I went to the hospital yesterday, and like I said, I went in like going, right, it's black and white, it's either going to be good or bad, it's all like achievement is like a perspective thing. So like, you know what I mean? If you've won 2 BSB titles when you retire and you think you should have won 4, you're depressed. But someone that's won none, and if they won 2, it's amazing. But it's the same 2, so it's 2 and 4. It doesn't make any difference. So that's the thing that I'm trying to teach myself is like, what your perspective of being successful or what is good news is completely different. So someone that's trying to bunk off work for another 2 months, and if he says you've only got a month, they're fuming.
You'd be gutted.
You'd be gutted because you want signed off for 2. Whereas if I want a month and they say 2, it's the same thing. So that's what I'm trying to like go into it, and hopefully if I've learned anything from this, like if I keep racing, that's what I wanna just actually enjoy riding my bike, and if I manage to fluke a win or 2 out of that, then all the better.
So I remember when you won the TT and your interview was just, as you always are, open and honest. And you're like, you bought, I don't know exactly your exact word, but it was on the lines of, I don't know how I've done it.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how every previous winner felt the same.
Yeah.
It was like, it didn't feel fast. And it's just, I think.
That's good. Yeah, it's a different place to win it. Like, it's just special. And when you stop trying so hard and things click and it becomes more fluidic, and I don't know what the right word is, but it's a good feeling. I'll never forget that day and what it meant to me and stuff.
He's really living it. You can see in his eyes there, you know what I mean, that glaze over look. It's class. I tell you what, where do you being Mr. Supersport, how fast can that envelope get stretched to?
I think it's down to the weather. Yeah, well, I said to them the last year I was there, I did 26 or 8, and I could only had 1A, so I couldn't see. And I said to them, like, it's
hard with 1 eye, isn't it?
Yeah. I did 1 lap, and I pulled in or whatever after because that's what I'd promised the team. So, like, I say this, I can't say it easily because I've never done 135 or 6 mile an hour, but I know how hard you have to ride to do 130 mile an hour on a 600. You know, there's certain tracks where like the time difference is massive on a big bike, and there's a lot of straights at the TT and a lot of benefits of sitting there flat out. So to do 130 odd mile an hour on a 600, you are absolutely, the risk level is far higher, because to make the lap time on a big bike, you make it more by being on the throttle, and so you're not actually at the apex, you're probably going a little bit slower than,
almost safer in a way.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, you're going a bit slower and you're not trail brake, you're not, so but it's selfish of me to say that because I've nearly done it on a 600. I know we're not doing it on a big bike, so someone like Pete should probably say it, or Michael or Dean, or someone that can do it on both bikes, that could honestly say this is how hard it is on each bike. But yeah, the physicality is probably less on a 600, but the risk is as high, if not higher, I think. Especially at like mid corner speed, or
because you're pushing into places where you've got lean angle.
To make the time. You have to make the time.
So TT wise, it's turned into the Triumph Cup.
Yeah.
So what was
gone from the R6 Cup to the Triumph Cup?
Was it now your decision process as a team? You being
well, even a few things really, because it was just like, well, financial as well. We'd spend a fortune on R6 engines and just reliability, and basically you're trying to race something against something that's detuned and cheaper to run, and you're paying a fortune to tune it and to compete at the same thing. You're never ever going to you're never going to beat that. Do you know what I mean?
Bringing something down's easier than bringing something up in it.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the main thing.
I tell you what, he's the perfect person to speak to, because he's got a V2, I've got a V2, and he is the original Ducati pilot. You know what I mean? He had a Panigale for years and just tried to kill him. Also Grand Prix Northwest TD. Yeah. He just used to come in and just go, just try to kill us.
It was that bad at the Northwest. One year, McGuinness offered to buy me a Honda to go to the TT. I finished second to Cam Donald, I think, in the Superstock race. And McGuinness was like, Lee, you can't ride that thing. It was my first ever TT. Oh, it was horrendous. It blew up just before Balaf. No, what's the jump?
Got Balacry.
No, the bridge you go over. Just
Balaf Bridge.
Yeah. It blew up just before there. So you have like a flat out left and a right, and I went into the left and it just went bang and just lit up, and I was the full of the road. And I don't know how I got. It wasn't skill to get around the corner, but I pulled up at the bridge and they cancelled practice because of me, and the whole crowd was like booing. It was like my first TT. I was like, oh my god! I just wanted to get under the bridge and hide. Yeah. Oh, it was a disaster.
But you haven't, obviously, I think it goes without saying, you've probably not been near Ducati since. No. So
I would like to ride it though. I'd like to ride his team's one in Supersport.
Well, you're racing again because Toddy's on one, isn't he? So.
Todd's going to be the first one on a Ducati probably since him, and then prior to that, the fastest lap was a 1:27 on the senior with Michael Rutter.
Yeah,
at a 1:27 lap. So it'll be. I love that little V2. It'll be interesting to see how it goes around the TT.
Proper bike, but especially his team. They've got a real fancy one. Like all their bikes are fancy. Like Christian's bike's that good. He literally has like a go and a stop button on the
I just sit on it and
and
just
just puts in projected lap time. Go.
that's where I'm going wrong. I keep
You put in the wrong projection. He hasn't told you about this. You need to get a dash cam on him. I've caught him in the pits.
I tell you, what is your prediction for the BSB? Pretend he's not
Do you
here.
know who actually was out in Spain a bit when I was there? It was Rory Skinner, and he looks, his style is lovely anyway.
It is,
like relaxed.
I must admit, I've seen some reels and he looks pretty good.
He looks good, yeah. And he's you know what? Like he had his bit of a chance, and then maybe didn't get the right deal of the cards and everything. And he's coming just to go and ride his bike. He's not got a care in the world. He's got no hassles off anyone. He's literally cruising around, riding his motorbike, and full of the joys of spring. Do you know what I mean? And he's not bothered. And he's like that sort of a character anyway, where he like, well, it's what it is. Do you know what I mean? If you beat him in the first race, he'll try as hard in the next one, and he's got no real. Yeah, I'd say he's in with a good. But then there's 10 other people. Do you know what I mean? There's not a chance, and even the person that starts the championship really might be nowhere near. Like a Halloran for a couple of years was smoking everybody, and then you know what I mean. He should have won 2 or 3.
Yeah, never boxed one off yet.
Yeah, I know maybe it was different when the points were different or whatever, and if he was a normal championship and all that. But
So, who would you class as your outside bet?
there's no such thing, isn't it? Well,
No,
even
there is.
those young kids, like that young Max Cook kid.
Yeah, he's going good.
He's
He was
right.
impressive last year. Really impressive.
He's,
What about like Nesbitt?
Yeah,
I
the
think
big
he's
thing
got-
is the big thing is teams. Though, they don't have a team that can consistently give you, because the tracks are so different in BSB. So to consistently have a good bike for Oulton or Schneiderton or Knockhill, or that's the thing. Because if you've good riders on teams that are as equally good, they can do that every weekend. If you're a bad weekend, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, how are you beating that? Like if you're not winning, or
And not just I guess not just the good bikes, but the teams allowing the riders to grow,
Yeah.
which is like you don't see it, but that's equally as important because coming through you're gonna have things you need to learn.
It's a massive thing, I think, where if I was a team manager, I see people spending all this money on bikes and parts and everything, and then there's if you see when, like I have mates that play football, when a footballer joins a football club, they worry about him more than anything. Do you know what I mean? They sort his house, his kids go to school, where he wants to shop, who he wants to car, they sort of his car as everything, right? I'm not saying it needs to be to that extent, but when you see a top rider go into a top team and they go, oh, well, this is a good bike and they're good mechanics and this, it's like these 4 things, but no one thinks to, right, let's care about this. There's certain riders might be full of confidence or full of arrogance, or some riders maybe need a cuddle. Some riders, you know what I mean? And that, I don't ever really see that happening. Like I don't want to name any riders, but there's some riders that I think that if they had some of them things, to be there, because when you give them a bit of care and attention, that breeds confidence, and when they get the confidence, then they go well. And some riders might be crashing because they're forcing it to fit because they don't have confidence, but if you got it in the right pattern and to that point, then you've just missed all the negativity and the crashing, and the crashing leads to more, you know what I mean? And you've saved yourself a load of money in parts. So it's like, but I don't think there's a lot of them that are maybe not ex-racers, or they were businessmen, or they were different things, and they're amazing at what they do, but because you have the money and you have the best bike and a good team, that doesn't give you the right to win the race. Do you know what I mean? You have to like massage the situation, I think, with certain people, and mentally there's no real talk of, like any other top sport in the world, there's psychologists and people like see, and there's no talk of that in our sport.
No, it's true. I guess when sometimes riders, sometimes it works for riders when they move to a team, but it's more by design
just luck.
than more by luck than design. So like they happen to click with that group of guys or whatever, or that team manager.
And that's good if it does click, but then when the shit hits the fan, then there's
The
flags.
opposite.
Then it's the opposite. Then it goes right down, and then you can't fix a problem with the same people doing the same thing that made the problem, because that's not, something has to change to make that come back out of the hole. Somebody has to change their idea or the way they're doing it or how they're going to do it. You can't do the exact same thing and expect a different outcome. That's like, it's insanity in it, or whatever it's called. It's the same, but they think, oh well, we're this team and we've been here for 20 years and this bike's good, we should win.
Yeah, away you go.
Does not work like that.
It doesn't.
Now,
It doesn't work like that.
with all that being said, I'm going to spin it slightly. Supersport. Who's going to win that?
Oh, his teammate. They've got their bike's way better than anyone else's. I'm joking. Call that a bit out.
No, we're keeping that in.
There's loaded Ducatis now, though, isn't there? Young McManus is around Ducatis.
Yeah, McManus is now going real good out in Spain. They were out in Spain with us.
But then
There's Stapleford on the Triumph.
Yeah, I'd say him. Yeah, he's good quality rider. Stapleford. He's won World Supersport races or been on the podium, so he's not like.
And you got Jack Kennedy back in again.
Yeah.
On the Honda.
Brad Peary on a Kawasaki.
The Kawasaki's going to be a...
I think that Honda's a 750 in it that Jack's on.
Probably.
Get that in the camera.
No, but
Harv's going to be shut that channel.
He rides for Ducati, so he doesn't have to worry about that there. Wait,
yeah, ours is a 959, isn't it?
Yeah, Jack, I think, Curry, Stapleford.
Are you doing your order here?
No, not in order, but they're going to be every weekend riders, and then like there'll be some kid that's come through that'll be on the podium and stuff as well, or could even win the championship. You don't know. That's the good thing about Supersport. They're not all old people like in Superbike.
That's one of our Patreon questions from Michael Harrison. I guess you are planning. I'm not even going to take him on.
I know. I'm waiting for you to look.
Do you know what? He talks about age, right? When I came into short circuits. Like,
but you'd already
Lee Johnston was Lee Johnston was that guy, he's the next guy, like if you get anywhere near him, which I didn't, like he's like the old guy who's already in it. Like he was in Junior Supersport at 48.
He come from making £500,000 a year in World Supermoto riding around. Unbelievable.
Lee was the guy. Lee was genuinely the guy. I can remember it.
I was trying to convince you that I was good.
No, but
what was the question?
Change the subject. I'm just going through Patreons because we have good Patreons. Michael Harrison's asking, I guess when you're fit and ready, are you planning to do some British Supersport Championship?
Yeah, that was the plan to go back and do that.
What about signatures for the TT?
Yeah, so
a lot of people don't realise that you have to get.
But now it's not the same as what you don't actually have to race. So as long as you're riding, so like track days in Spain counts, track days in England counts.
Right, that's good.
Does the track day that you crashed on count?
Yes.
No, I didn't do enough laps. I think you must have to do. Yeah, you'd have to at least understand. Like the way I look at it is, if you went to do a track day, you do 60, 70 laps a day, maybe. Mm-hmm. If you went to do a club meeting, you wouldn't do 60, 70 laps all weekend. You've got 10 minutes free practice, 10 minutes qualifying, and 2 10-lap races. Yeah. So what have you done in that? Like 25 laps or 30? So and like at least now that they understand, do you know what I mean? They're not. Whereas before they'd go, go and do this club race and that club. So I'm like, I'm doing no riding and a load of risk because.
Well, you're a target, aren't you? You know what I mean?
Little big target.
No, but like that way, people don't realise that. If you go out there and you're trying to just get a signature to go racing, someone goes, I've got a chance to sit up Lee Johnston from 1,000 yards. They're going to take it, aren't they? Yeah. And it'll end in tears.
But like I've already done 8 or 9 days in Spain since December.
So you're covered?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm covered, but if I did the Northwest and then did Donington. Yeah, the horses, I'd say.
No,
is that your horse?
Is that actually a horse?
My horse,
it's really hard going being a motorbike rider.
Got no saddle.
It's just my horse.
I've just figured out.
I just cruising up and down the street with no saddle on.
You can't bleed out of it. You told me you got £500,000 in Supermoto days.
You don't win £500,000. You don't earn £500,000 from riding a dirt bike with slicks. Trust me.
What was the so I'll do them days, and then if I did the Northwest, and then I do what's the BSB between the Northwest and TTs? Donington, is it?
Probably.
Yeah,
that's the one you didn't get to last time, so it will be.
So
it's the same calendar.
So that'd be enough, I think.
We've got loads of people just wishing you well, basically. Pretty much everyone. But
thanks.
Going on about your crew you've got round you, you've obviously got a brilliant relationship with all your crew.
Yeah.
Specifically, how has Neil put up with you for so long?
It's worrying because they're all nearly dead. They're all quite old. So like getting them signed out on a Thursday and stuff now and on the bus and all this is just like, you talk about running the team being hard work. But yeah, they are like the amount that
do they get cheap? When you travel somewhere, do you use their OAP passes
to get frames and stuff? Yeah, but like the amount that they've won is like even Neil won't talk on the camera in the vlog, but like Neil's like they work for like V&M and Grumpy's been at Factory Honda for years. Roger was at Factory. Like they've all like been around for a long time. They've won like gazillion BSB races and TTs and World Superbike races, like loads of stuff, and now they're with me. It's like this was all the build up for them to get to this point. But that's why, like, the abuse they give me, they're like, Lee, I used to work for David Jeffries or such as, how have I ended up here with you? Like, do you know what I mean? But no, they're good. They're good people in the sense where I don't have to tell them anything. You know, like at a race weekend, they can go and they know who to speak to. They know who works where at the TT or at the BSB or the park and the truck. You know, like there's, you know, if you had young staff are great, but you have to teach them all these things.
Yeah.
And like, so
they've got all this experience over all this time.
Yeah.
And I guess it puts your, especially with what you do in road stuff, it puts your mind completely at rest. Just like
yeah. And I can see how much they care. You know, like when I quit racing, they've all said that they're just going to quit at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it means a lot what they do for me. Yeah.
Do you ever feel pressure with that?
Nah. So
which is good.
They forget each morning, don't they?
I think he's saying it every time.
How did we go on yesterday? Yeah. I have to keep walking around with my trophy just to remind them. So they don't even, like, when we won at Silverstone, they're hilarious. Like, I was like, get into Park Fermi and there might be just Roger there. And I go, where's the other ones? She goes, they couldn't be bothered walking. It was too far. Like, they don't even want to walk down the pit lane.
That is class. I'll tell you what, could you, doing what you're doing now and everything that you've learned, could you go back to quote unquote employment, ride for Honda or ride for Ducati or ride for another team?
Yeah, probably there is good teams.
I'm not denying that, but
maybe not. Maybe there's some teams that are like strict. Do you know what I mean? And some teams that aren't. I wouldn't say I work well with orders.
You make your own. That's why it's
I don't mean that. Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm happy with people telling me what to do as long as it's my opinion. No, I probably could. I wouldn't say I couldn't, because then if I get the sack at the end of this year, no one will offer me a job. Because
you said you'd never.
I'm really easy to work with, so yeah, I could work with another team. It would be hard, I think, but especially because in two ways. Because I have a really good understanding now when I see people like team managers and they're like tonguing about something. I go, "What have you got to be tonguing about?" I'm like, now I know, like, all the bullshit, like people letting you down, and if you don't get wheels at a certain time, then you can't get wheel speed sensors, then you can't get you know what I mean, all these things, and there's just it just fries your head, so you spend loads of doing the same thing that should have been a one job. That's the
chasing.
The bit. Yeah, so I've got two ways really. I've got an appreciation for team managers, and then maybe not.
And also, you've been doing commentary, like podcast work and everything like that. So, you know, there's many. I don't think we'll ever not see Lee Johnston in the sport. Put it that way. You know what I mean?
A lot of hats. Kenny's asked actually, how does it feel to start vlogging only to have Jesse and Neil become more famous than you?
Oh, I get this all the time. Yeah, Jesse's like.
But Jesse, I seen Jesse's his first vlog the other day, which I loved.
Bless him. He's like, he hasn't quite grasped that, like, when something goes on YouTube and he'll say, like, our world, but if he goes to like Spain or something and he thinks it's another world, he's like, can people in the other world see all these videos? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, is it on the other world now and stuff? So he absolutely loves it. But he's got his I've got them Insta360 cameras, and he drives around with it on his tractor in the house and stuff. So I think it's cool, like, that he's interested in. He watches YouTube and now he's like, oh look, they've made this video, and you know what I mean? That's the way the world's going. Yeah. So
does Jesse have any interest in the bikes? Or?
Yeah, he likes bikes, but he's like obsessed with tractors, and we've got a guy.
So he's going to be a farmer rather than a racer.
I hope so. Yeah, there's
plenty of money in farming.
Yeah. So there's a guy on the road that comes to racing with his two little boys, but he works on the farm, and he drives a gator and even like a grab wagon, you know, like, like in Jesse's world, he's the coolest man in the world. Like, he comes to the racing with his kids, and his kids are lovely and everything. And Jesse sees him, he's like, "Daddy, there's the grab wagon man." He's like, he's like absolutely obsessed. But yeah, I think it's great that he comes and like he thinks like Taran or Paul George, like they're all his friends, or Whittam. Like, Whittam's Jesse's mate, he's not my mate. Do you know what I mean? So it's normal. He doesn't know any different, or like it's probably the same as when you were a kid. You know, it's no. You don't know any different, but yeah, he's going to be a farmer hopefully and make me lots of money, and I'll sit at home.
That's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. But tell you what, like, honestly, mate, the amount of that, like, all the patrons shouting out. You got, you know, Matthew, you got Terry, AJ, Michael Harrison, your mate.
To me.
To me, to moo.
To moo, to you.
Phil, we have a pit. He's been here from day one, right? In one episode with him, and he just took the piss with the Chuckle Brothers. And I'm thinking, we're going to lose every patron that Grace has worked this hard to get. And I'm like, what? His first appearance as a co-host, it's like within seconds.
I upset the Patreons.
Straight on it. We've got, obviously, Maggie. We've got Hayden Gibson. That's a good question. Any new helmet designs?
Oh, I've got a nice one for this. Do you know what upset me?
Because we've just been looking at your helmet collection. It's lush.
I'm glad you said collection, mate. You know what I mean? I'm going to finish this.
I had a nice one for Daytona as well. I've never got to use it.
Can we not?
I've got a new design and a new helmet painter for this year.
Is it a new design or you kept
similar design, but completely different colours and
cool.
Really?
Yeah. Look, no
pink.
Maybe a little bit, but like.
Who's doing your lids?
Not Hayden Gibson.
No, I don't even know the name of the company. Okay. Dutch or something. So my helmet painter, Paint Nation's been like the same for years, and he stopped now. He works for a company involved with RST that owns the bike shop. God, I was going to give him a shout out there as well. Thanks Philip, for all these years for painting my helmet.
We'll edit it in.
Yeah, put it in. Voiceover right now.
Also,
so I obviously didn't want to change helmet painter. He's stopping because he's been mint for a decade nearly. So, but things change. And
I'm going to ask this one that Ty asked because we just said it about Jesse being into it's the modern world about being into videos and all that sort of thing. And I think I'm past the era because I'm not very good at social media. I wasn't born into it.
Yeah.
Do you think now
that's a good excuse? The question is, want to do it,
and it's not because I'm so old.
You just don't like people.
you don't like people. I'll agree with that. I don't like people.
No, you're like me. You like talking to the people you like talking to, but anyone else you don't want to talk.
Just blank them. But Ty asked, do you feel you need to be on maybe not necessarily YouTube, but have a good social media presence to be a professional racer?
I think more so the worse I've got at racing, I think I need to do. Do you know what I mean? If it was a bit faster, it's fast people like you don't have to do anything. Do you know what I mean?
I'm getting to the point.
It's like that slope in it. So you've got YouTube and speed, and just like a crossover point. No, I enjoy. Like I said,
but if Jesse was coming through, do you think he would have to do?
Yeah.
I think it's a modern world, isn't it?
That's why we're going to put these guys out of jobs because there's going to be no TV stuff, is there?
No, but that's the thing. You look at Billy Bold, Tommy Searles, 2 Pro 1 Slow. You've got Kex.
I've made team sponsors and sponsors from YouTube. I've had people come to me through YouTube, that weren't bike fans and then become. So that's pit in my sense. That's worked. I've put that effort in. At the end of the day, I only do it because from racing motorbikes, do you know what I mean? And it's to benefit that, and it's a laugh, and if it's helped people mentally or whatever what we've done since crashing, that's all great. But it started just as a bit of a mistake, really, or just whatever. Do you know what I mean? I was never expecting it. And
a lockdown project,
God knows why people have decided to keep watching it, but they have, and it's and people ask me this sometimes as if I've got a plan. I don't have any sort of plan or what to do with it really, or even. Well, you can see that the videos aren't this clean cut. What's the right word I'm looking for?
They're raw.
Cinematic.
Yeah, they are raw, but I think that's raw. That's part of the pull of it.
Yeah, but somebody because bless Chris, Christy had no idea at the start either. She does an amazing job now, but this guy at the start, I remember his comment was "This is amazing. It's so natural and raw." I was like, "No, mate, this is what happens when you actually don't have a clue what you're doing." It was he thought that this was an angle we were going for, but no. So yeah, I've got no idea, but yeah, I think you have to now for the future because sponsors if you've got 2 riders that are averagely the same speed and one guy's got a massive following and getting all this content and doing all these things, well, why would you sponsor the other guy? As if they were for like, it's that's the only other sales pitch, I suppose. Yeah,
mega.
So obviously the plans to get you on at the Northwest.
Yeah.
When's the next direct time we're going to get you on a bike?
I don't know. About 3 days before the Northwest, probably.
Sweet. Well, as long as you get on a bike, son, that's the main thing.
We don't know. We need to just once we've got another appointment. I don't want to say that date because then people are going to start messaging me on that date. But we've got another appointment in a while, and then we'll know better then. And then if they decide then when the cage comes off or what happens, then I've got a load of plans made. if, but maybe when, so that if it does happen, then we're in place. But if it doesn't, then
just quick. So obviously this injury looks pretty bad because of a cage, but actually it should, in theory, when the cage comes off, be pretty strong. Apart from the holes that have to fix.
Yeah.
So it's just weak apart from where the screws have gone in. But it should be like take it off and you should feel pretty good.
Yeah, I could cycle and Evan. I wouldn't go running. I think when I take it off, but I'll be fit to do everything.
So
else.
all I mean, like it kind of looks worse than.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad, but as in it looks way you go, fuck, there's no chance.
It
But actually,
ugly. It's not.
There's half a chance.
That's the thing that's the whole point of it. Like I'm trying to walk on it and stuff now, and when I get it off, I'll be like ready for action. I think.
Class, man. No, I really can't wait. You know, and I meant what I said at the beginning of it all. The sport needs you, mate. You know, no, it does. I know you don't think like that. You're humble, you're modest, but the sport does need you. You know what I mean?
Do you want to say something nice, Christian?
Yeah. Get it slapped in there. Get something nice in there. Go on.
My granddad always said if you got nothing good to say.
That's why people think Christian's quiet. He's not. He's just really rude. So he just wants to say anything bad.
Absolutely.
Thanks to his granddad, he saved his life.
I'm going to piggyback what Dom said. Dom has genuinely been going, I hope Lee comes back. I hope he's back for this, that and the other, because he said we need him. We really need him.
Well, no, but fucking road racing's fragile as it is.
It's not as fragile as my leg, partner.
Right, all
Thanks
that.
for having me.
Where they are, I'll tell you what. Well, we'll do a bit of housekeeping, but obviously, thank you so much. I'm going to carry on reading the names. We've got, Maggie asking after you, Mark, all of them. Cyril's asking your favourite. You've got Ty Kinton. He's one of your mates.
It's Cyril. Big up, Cyril.
Big up, Cyril.
Go, Cyril.
Matthew.
Shirley.
Hi, Shirley.
That is a cool name, isn't it, Cyril?
I know a bus driver called Cyril.
Yeah. You know a bus driver called Cyril?
Yeah.
Do you ever send his name?
You don't take the bus.
He's got a new.
He doesn't take the bus.
Chauffeur.
Is that the slang for chauffeur?
He's had to drive his own hire car here. He was absolutely disgusted.
He's been driving me around the wild track the whole time.
Class. And obviously we've got Travis, we've got Sam, Kenny, Mick, Mike. Mate, there's so many. There is so
we know
many.
we've got a good guest when we get so many Patreon questions.
No, you mean a nice person.
A nice person.
Yeah.
You struggled to say that there, didn't you? You struggled to say that.
Grandad.
Yeah, right. I tell you what.
Right, I'll do the Bennetts thing.
You do the Bennett things, and I tell you what. You can start. JCT Truck and Trailer.
They're my sponsor.
Yeah, they came on board. They got in touch with Grace.
Yeah.
Said, I want to help.
He rung me before, and he's lovely, right? And he rung me. He was like, "Oh, I'd like to." I said, "Yeah, ring them up." And then Grace rung me. She was like, "Oh, this man." I was like, "Yeah, he is the nicest bloke you will ever wish to meet, and he just loves the sport, loves motorbikes, loves everything about it." So yeah, I'm glad I seen it there as soon as I sat down. He's a good person, and there's like normally you know that sometimes sponsors come for what they can get out of it. Do you know what I mean? Which is fair enough. That's business, but some people then just randomly want to see things do well, and he's one of them. Like he's that guy.
He just got in touch. He's helped Grace. He's helping the show, because without sponsors, this show wouldn't this show wouldn't exist. Without the patrons and without the personal sponsors, this show would not exist. So, massive thanks to him. Absolutely massive thanks. But you've got a message from one of our other sponsors.
Yeah, well, obviously you can big up the big one, because I can't really big up that
Talk
one.
about your team racing against them.
Dom's got the hat on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a free hat. You got it. You can't knock it. They're keeping the show going.
Well, I'll just say it anyway. Thanks to OMG Racing.
Nice.
Seems he was a bit slow on that one. And then Bennetts, obviously. So Bennetts, there's 2 more track days that are now live for this year with limited spaces remaining. One at Alton, one at Brands. If you can head to bennetts.co.uk/track days. Information there is needed if you need to book.
Have you ever done any of the Bennetts days?
Bennetts days.
They get like McGuinness there. They get like you've been to a couple. They get Hickman's.
They're all a big deal, aren't they?
Yeah.
You'll have to get Michael to get in touch with you and get you on some track days.
Stress-free track days, limited numbers. Me and Lee also coach on Whitman days. I'm just going to get that out there.
Get that out there.
Plus, seeing as Whitman's been very good to you over the last
has he? Yeah.
the last bit of
My
time.
bloody stepdad, isn't he? Bless him.
And then there's another bit. We've got our sponsor for this pod, which is the Street Diner.
Have you tried their food at the tea? Were you working there?
Big yellow sign, is it the Street Diner?
Oh, but no, you know the Monster Energy tent.
Yeah.
You know all them calves and all the food was Street Diner.
Holy smokes.
So
he's a good sponsor. He'll be making millions over there.
yes.
Get your hand in your pocket.
So this year they'll be at the grandstand and fan zone offering food like urban American street food, salt and chili chicken. I shouldn't be reading this. I've not had my lunch. I've had some
Salt and chili chicken.
chocolate peanuts. You can also find them at Crosby Leap in the field, keeping everyone fueled during the racing. And they're hosting a brand new official TT cafe up at the grandstand opposite the VIP structure. You'll find spectacular bike display provided by John McGuinness, the very
And he, that man, if there's anyone who knows about food, that man knows about food. Sure, mate.
And there'll be Monster Energy racing arcade games, fresh coffee, an extensive menu, and lots of fresh Manx produce. So keep an eye on the TT schedule for rider event nights in there. They are free and open to the public.
Yeah, but like,
Just gonna,
the BBC are legging it.
BBC have had enough.
Want to get an advert in?
yeah. Give it a quick shout out what he is. No, but John Labella, who owns that business, he like started with Sweet FA, lived in Allendale. Like me and him lived in Allendale, like different sides of the village, and it's like. He's come from nothing.
Yeah.
He does F1 events. He does he goes over to Europe. He does absolutely everything, and it's like
It's insane.
But the food is. Put it this way: Paul Phillips is a massive fan of the food.
Oh, well, that's good.
You know what I mean? You know, it's
He's upper class, isn't he?
He's
Yeah.
No, but yet
Hey,
again,
thank you very much. You've been amazing.
Pleasure was all mine.
You really have been, and thank you for fitting us in because I know you've
got a
despite
lot
the-
on.
That sound like I'm actually busy. I'm not. I spent the last 3 weeks sitting on the sofa enough, and you've all come at the same time.
no, but seriously, thanks for having us, Lee, and
cool.
hey, get well soon and get yourself on that bike, mate.
Try.
Awesome.
I'll try.
Right, catch you later.